While we were talking about VLAN, we saw that some ports are called as trunk ports, whereas some are called as access. Now, between these two switches, whenever we are trying to extend multiple VLANs, we need to have trunk configured. Trunk only can carry multiple VLAN traffic. Multiple VLAN traffic. And the other ports that are connected to end device, now they have to be in access mode. Access mode. The reason is they take part in only one VLAN. I cannot make this port to be a member of multiple VLANs when I have only one host. This wire is a member of single port, sorry, single VLAN. All traffic that is coming out of this computer belong to one VLAN, one broadcast domain. So we configure that port to be a trunk port, sorry, access port. So we got access port, we got trunk. This part we can easily understand. Member of a single VLAN access port, multiple VLAN trunk port. Now, can I make this as a trunk? No, it should not. When a traffic comes from single host, it needs to be an access port. If you put it as a trunk port, what will happen? When traffic comes from PC, it is not tagged with any VLAN ID. It is not tagged with any VLAN ID. So untagged traffic, we learned that untagged traffic will go to untagged traffics will go to native VLAN. Yes. So native VLAN is a VLAN into which all the untagged traffics can be sent. that VLAN may not be the VLAN in which this host to be connected. So all the host and host need to be put into appropriate VLAN. When you put it in a single VLAN, then it should be access, cannot be trunk. Now, other than this access and trunk, there are other modes. The default mode of all ports in Cisco is auto, which is also called as a dynamic auto. Dynamic auto. Dynamic auto. What is dynamic auto? The port that can change the role based on the negotiation. We call it as dynamic auto. This auto mode ports can change the role from the default role access to a trunk. If a negotiation to trunk comes from outside. So if any negotiation comes to the spot saying, hey, can you be a trunk? If any negotiation comes, then this auto port, which is accessed by default, will switch to trunk. Now, what do you understand from here? The ports have got two mode. One, admin mode, another one, operational mode. Administratively, all ports will be in dynamic auto. But operationally, when it is auto, it will be access. If any negotiation comes, operationally, it will switch to trunk. Administratively, it is still auto. Operationally, the port will do what? Access by default. It will be a member of a single VLAN by default. But if any negotiation comes to the port, which port? The port that is in administrative auto. If it is administrative auto, then the operational mode can change as per the negotiation. If negotiation comes to form trunk, this will automatically form trunk. If I don't want this port to be a trunk, whatsoever the negotiation comes, then what I have to do is I have to change the admin mode as static access. I'm statically configuring access only from auto. I'm saying you should never become trunk. You should be a access port only. So operationally, the mode becomes access. Sorry, yeah. hard coded as access. I should not say changing into access. It is already access. When it was auto, it is access. Now it is hard coded. It is written very firmly as access only. This mode will shift operationally from access to trunk only if admin mode is auto. When you put admin mode as access, how do we do that? We go to the port and say switch port mode access. When you put this command, admin mode changes from auto to access. When you do that, operationally, it will not turn to trunk. Whatever the negotiation may come, it will remain access. So now we have covered three things: trunk, access, and auto. Now, if you say admin mode as trunk, then you are statically configuring admin mode as trunk. Operationally also, it will be trunk only, right? So trunk can be statically configured like this, or one side you configure trunk statically, other side is auto. Through negotiation, this becomes trunk. In both the way, you can have trunk. Statically trunk or trunk through negotiation. Right. So now we have auto, we have trunk, we have access. There is another one called dynamic desirable. Switch port mode, the same command, you say dynamic desirable. What does that mean? You see, instead of auto, okay, one side let it be auto, one side auto. The other side is dynamic desirable. This time you did not configure trunk. You did not configure trunk. You have configured dynamic desirable. You know why? You don't want to form trunk here, or see what happens if this is access. If this is access, and when you configure trunk here, this link will not be a trunk link. Why? Because here you have hard coded it as access. For link to become trunk link, both sides should be trunk. But one side you have hard coded as access. You don't want this to happen. So what you do, instead of configuring trunk on this side, you configure dynamic desirable. When you configure dynamic desirable in the admin mode, operationally it will be access, but it will send one packet asking for permission to the other end. Hey, can you be a trunk? See, it is still access only operationally, but it is expressing the desire to be a trunk. It says, can we be a trunk? And this guy is going to say, no, 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 no. I'm an access. So this will continue to be an access. No confusion here. It will continue to be an axis. It's not one side trunk and one side axis. That will be a confusion. It continues to be an axis because the other side is not supportive. But instead of axis, if you would have had auto here, the negotiation comes saying, shall we be a trunk? And this guy says, oh, no problem. I can, because I'm an auto. I can change my operational mode from axis to trunk. That response goes here and makes this one as trunk operationally. You see, dynamic desirable is more safe. Now both the side is trunking. The link also trunks. Both the side, when it is trunk, only then the link is trunk. So this negotiation, this type of negotiation is good. Checking the availability, checking the possibility of the other end, and then forming trunk. Right? So these are the four modes: auto, dynamic desirable, axis, and trunk. Now next is native VLAN. You need to configure under the trunk mode. I want to show you all these things. We got these three switches. First of all, I would like to show you those two modes on each port. There will be an admin mode, operational mode. To see that, you need to put this command. And no need a host name. Switchboard show switchboard show interface F0/1 switchboard. Right? Put this command to see the modes. Here you can see admin mode. It is by default dynamic auto. Operationally, it is axis. Don't get misguided with the word static. It's not really static. It is because of axis. It is axis. Operationally, it is axis mode. And it is a member of the default VLAN 1. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to this port and configure this as a trunk. Okay, no problem. You know this will be auto here and access here. I'm going to configure this as a trunk. You just saw, I showed you the admin mode is auto. But when I say interface F0/1 switchboard mode trunk, see, you don't need to say no shutdown on the switchboards because it's just a layer 2. You don't have that security shutdown. That shutdown option is a kind of security. Unless and until we say no shutdown, that the traffic's no protocols will move in that port. On the router, it is necessary because you're connecting different network. On a LAN, it is not necessary. That security is not needed because it's just within the organization, LAN port. So all the ports in the switches are up. You no need to say no shutdown. I'm just saying switchboard mode trunk. When I say trunk, see what happens. The admin mode, where it is here, the admin mode has become trunk. So operationally, it must be a trunk. It cannot be any other mode. It's trunk and trunk only. If you go to the other side, by now this would have turned to from axis to trunk operationally. This would have turned from axis to trunk. Let's go verify. Show interface F0/1 switch port. You can see administratively it is still auto, but operationally it has become trunk. Usually when it is dynamic auto, operationally you used to see static axis. But now you see it is because of negotiation. It is because of negotiation it has become trunk. You can see this difference in this output, show interface trunk. You see here the small n. This is trunking because of negotiation. It is not because of mode. Mode is still auto only. But because of negotiation, this is trunking. If you go to the other switch, and type this command, show interface trunk, you will not see that N here. Why? Because the trunk mode is enabled. We gave switch port mode trunk command. This is trunking because you enabled the trunking. You turned on the trunk, not because of negotiation. Whereas the other end of the wire is auto. So negotiation was successful and it has turned to trunk. Now the trunk ports will not be visible in this command show VLAN brief. You see F01 is missing because it has become trunk. Trunk ports, though they carry any VLAN traffic, though they are member of all VLANs, because it's a common port for all VLAN, it cannot be seen as a part of a single VLAN because it's a shared one, it's common one. Okay. Now, we have seen here the negotiation. Let's go to the other end. Here, I'm going to make this as dynamic desirable. And this is still auto. See, here we did not do any change. Show VLAN brief. This is still a member of VLAN 1. Show interface trunk, no trunk, which means it is out access. Show interface F0/1 switch port. It is still access. Now I'm going to the other end of this wire, which is F02 of switch 0, and making it as dynamic desirable. Interface F0/2 switch port mode dynamic desirable. Now if you go and check here, show interface trunk, show interface F0/2 switch port. You can see it is dynamic desirable and operationally it is trunk because of the other end is supporting. Other end is an auto, it's supported. Earlier when I was showing you this command, you saw it as an axis, but now it is trunking. It is trunking. And now if you check the output, show interface trunk, it says, I'm auto, but negotiation came willing to form a trunk. I agree to it, and I'm forming trunk. And if you go here and check the same command, show interface trunk, you can see this is desirable and negotiation. Both sides you will see and, because only after successful negotiation this could form trunk. Next, native VLAN. All untagged traffic will be a member of VLAN 1 by default. If you want to configure other VLAN, then you need to first configure that VLAN. Let's say I want all the untagged traffic coming to the trunk port to be a member of VLAN 10. So let me go here and configure VLAN, create VLAN 10. VLAN 10, and also the switch VLAN 10. Oh, still this is crying. All the VLAN 10 traffics from both the switches are sent and tagged. Now, if you will have a switch, a hub in between, let's say you have a hub in between, and you have some computers connected. Now, when these PCs ping, there's no one to tag because the hub don't know how to tag. So when this PCs ping, the traffic will enter into VLAN 10. So if you will have a computer connected to the switch in VLAN 10, these two PCs can talk to this PC which is in VLAN 10, because the untagged traffic going from here will be forwarded to VLAN 10 only. Let me show you that. I'm going to put this PC with an IP address 10.0.0.1, and that interface F03 to VLAN 10. Interface F0/3 switch port access VLAN 10. So it's a member of VLAN 10. And here I'm going to say 10.0.0.1. Now, if I'll ping from here, I'll be able to ping 10.0.0.3. 10.0.0.3. You need to wait because of listening learning. It will take time. Okay, here then I'll make it as 3 here. And we will be able to ping 10.0.0.1. 10.0.0.1. You see, I'm able to ping this from here. I'm able to ping this, and also from here I can ping. It is because the untagged traffic that is coming from here will be taken into VLAN 10, and VLAN 10 traffics are always sent untagged, so it can also go here. Right, so this is the use case of native VLAN. And now we'll stop